So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So at this point, my first floor hopefully looks a lot like your first floor plan. You might not have all of the dimensions and all of the windows, but it should be enough to get us started. I'll probably just do these two views to start off with. And I really feel like I'm kind of officially starting class at this point. So let me go over what we'll be talking about today. This is kind of an introduction into sections. We're going to be placing another roof. We've already done a flat roof in this class before, so it's going to be really similar. Later on in the semester, we're going to have an entire class dedicated to roofs and stairs. This is kind of the intro. So sections, roof, stairs. And I'm going to put ceilings in brackets tonight. We may or may not do a lot with ceilings. We'll see how it goes. And the reason why, how many of you guys have taken your codes classes yet? Like your residential and commercial codes, Caitlin, you have? You had to do a ceiling plan in that class, correct? So many students were asking me about ceiling plans last semester that if I can, this semester I want to change up the plan a little bit to actually teach you not just how to insert a ceiling, but make a ceiling plan. And since I haven't done that yet, I'm putting it in brackets because we might come back and do that as kind of like its own class. For tonight, I'm just going to show you how to physically model one, not necessarily putting it on a plan yet. I'm going to get more information from, is it Jana Lee? Yeah, on what you guys are turning in. So what I'm teaching you pertains to that class. Okay, so just a little bit of pause on that. So part of what we're going to be doing tonight, since we are getting into sections, is we are going to go up a story. Up until this point, we have essentially just worked on ground level plans. It was one level. So tonight what we're going to do is we are going to edit our plan a little bit because that always happens. We're going to make a couple of adjustments. As we're making the adjustments, I'm going to teach you guys a couple more drafting methods that you might be familiar with in AutoCAD. We're going to go over more of them later, but again, an introduction. And then after that, we're going to add an entire story, and then we're going to drop some of it down. Again, because most of the time in Revit, you're editing. You pull everything up, and then you have to pull part of it back down. So just to get us started here, I would like to go ahead and take everything and take it up to the second level, okay? So a lot of times we think that we can live in a tiny house like this. And then once we get it all laid out, we realize, okay, that's not quite enough space. So we're gonna do two things. First, we're gonna edit the perimeter of the house slightly. And then after we edit the perimeter of the house, then what we're going to do is take everything up, okay? So everybody with me? So by perimeter, I mean like the footprint of the house. So after we met with our client, they decided that they wanted to go ahead and extend the footprint a little bit. Now, the area that they're really concerned about is the master bedroom up here. They really want a larger master bedroom. They don't necessarily want more living space, but just a little bit more bedroom space, okay? So right now in their bedroom, they have a dimension, or they should have a dimension of about 12 by 12, and they want to change that to be 15 feet by 18 feet this way. And they don't want to affect the living room, but it would be okay if we extended this bathroom area too, because they might add like a closet or something to their room. So I think you guys would probably be comfortable clicking on this wall and changing it to the 15-foot dimension, right? You can go ahead and pop that up. I did my north wall. So let me back up again. So in the end, they want this wall right here to be 15 feet, but we're going to drag this and take it all the way out to 18. So the 15 foot was straightforward, right? Okay. Now the tricky part about the 18 foot is that right now, because it's one long wall, I can't necessarily separate it from this space down here, right? Do you see how when I moved one part of the wall, it moves everything? So there's a couple different ways to approach this, and I want to show you guys both ways. And maybe what you can do is you can try both, because depending on the project or your preference, you might want to try both of them, okay? So for a moment, I want you guys to see me do both ways, and then you can decide what you want to do. So the first way, I might just do what I just did. I might come, grab the wall, move it 18 feet, but down here, because I know it isn't going to come all the way down, I might actually trim this wall up to that point, okay? And then down here, again, I don't know exactly where that wall goes yet, but I could do a create similar. You know, I'll have some walls to fix over here. But help me out. Do you guys remember what the original dimension of this room was, if I were doing it from the inside? I can go to my trusty PDF. So it should be about 12.5 feet, right? Yeah.
How did you trim the wall?
So it's TR.
And you just selected the interior wall?
No, let me back up a little bit. So you click on what you want to keep. So Jules, have you taken AutoCAD yet?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is essentially the fillet command. So it's TR for trim. It's completely different than CAD, but it really is the fillet command. So you click on the two walls you want to keep. Do you see it's giving you a, like kind of a preview? And then it trims it back like that. Okay. And then again, for the next part, I know that this wall's not going to go out here anymore, so I'm doing a create similar, and I'm just going to kind of fill in a random wall here. I'm going to pull this back. Okay. Again, not being too precise about it. Now, if I were to do a TR again to fix this corner, what two walls would I click? A, B, or C? Which two? A, B, C. B and C, good. So TR, B, C. You click on what you want to keep. Now after that, I'm going to put in my dimension again. I think I said this room was 12.5 feet, right? So 12.6. I could do another trim here. So TR, click on what I want to keep. Can I do a trim here? It's not working, right? Because there's nothing perpendicular here. So in this case, I would do a create similar, and I would throw in a wall here. It's not quite exact. What shortcut command could I use to move this wall down to match where it needs to go? Good. AL. What do I click on first? A or B? A. Yep, A. And then do I click on it like this, or what can I do to fix this? There's two things I can do. Because I don't want to go center to center, right? See how there's that weird gap? Yeah, I could do up here, wall faces. And then see how it's still kind of ignoring me? If I hit tab, then it'll remember, oh, wall faces. Sorry, grabbed the wrong wall. Let me do that one more time. So AL, wall faces. Since it started in wall faces, it will work. And it moved that back for me. So that eventually got me there. Okay? So that was me just taking one wall, doing some destruction down here, and then coming back and editing it. Okay, that was the first way. I'm going to undo all of that, which is also a constant in Revit. Wait, I didn't want that. Okay, now I'm back to where I started. I want to show you one other way of how you guys can do this, and we'll walk through both of them. So there is a command, and we talked about this really quickly the other day. Somebody had asked me a question regarding this. So if you select a wall, there are a couple of commands up here, and the most important one is called split element. And what it does, it essentially takes your wall and it razor blades it wherever you want. So it doesn't mean that it's like separating it with a gap in the middle. That's this one right here. But it's taking it, it's going to keep it as essentially one continuous lined up wall, but it slices it somewhere. So if I click on this, what this will allow me to do is cut the wall. I'm going to try to get as close as I can to about this wall right here. By placing that gap there, now I can click on this part of the wall, sorry, maybe, and move it out that 18 feet. Oh, it's still too connected. Let me do this. I'm going to take this and pull it back a little bit. No, not what I meant to do. I love that you guys can see Revit live. Okay. Remember I said even though it's split, it's still connected, right? And I'm going to move it out that 18 feet. And then this one stayed where it needed to go. So now I still have kind of that same cleanup process, right? What I can do here is I can use my align command and I can say use this reference plane. Let me see if I can find the end of this wall. Nope, it's not letting me. I'm just going to drag it back. Align didn't work for me there. And then from here, I'm going to do a create similar. And now I'll do the align command. There we go. And now a trim to finish that off. So I've got my 15 by 18 and I preserved the living area. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and undo this again. And again, I flew through that. That was just kind of the example to show you both of them. For sake of time, which one would you guys rather do? Do you want to do the split element so you don't have to redraw this bottom half again? Do you guys want to do that? Okay. Now, one thing I'd be curious about, when I started this, I did SL. Let me test something out real quick. If I do split with the gap, let me see if this will truly move independently. That didn't change anything. Come on. So I'm going to undo the split with the gap, and we're just going to do the rig where we kind of pull it away from the wall. Okay? So I'm going to take it from the top. Our client decided that they wanted more kind of private quarters in the upper left of the plan. So this dimension that's 12 will become 18. And then this dimension, did I already change this one? Was it 10 and I made it 15? We all did this one together already, right? Okay, good. So we've got this one. Now it's really just a matter of moving the 18. So in order for you guys to see split element, you can do three things. You can click on the wall and it pulls up your modify. Okay. If I hit escape, you can also do the shortcut SL and it just pops up. Or you can come and click on the modify menu on your own. And these are all really individual preferences. I am used to clicking on an element that I want to edit and then just waiting for the modify menu to come up. Because depending on the element, whether it's a wall or window or door, these modify items will be different. For example, I can't click on a window and split it. See how it's not actually letting me split a window? Okay. All right. So again, however you prefer, you can click on the wall itself. I keep accidentally clicking on those windows that are hidden underneath. Or you can go straight to your modify menu. What's my keyboard shortcut? Yep, split element. So they're really focusing on that L. And really, you can cut it anywhere along this wall right here. We have cleanup to do anyway. I think it'll be easier to cut it past the bathroom because all of this wall is going to move. So I'll just chop it right there. Everybody with me so far? So you guys have a cut. Do you remember the second thing that I did before I move the wall, or the second thing I should do before I move it? There's a hint. Say that one more time.
I moved that wall down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Separated.
Good. Yeah, so you just want to do a little bit of a separation because that used to be one wall. So even though we've split it, it's still joined together, so it moves. But when you physically pull one wall away from another, it knows they're not joined anymore. So now I can move this out the 18 feet and that will stay there. Why don't you guys try that? And if you have any trouble, throw up a hand and I'll walk through it with you. Emily, do you mind telling me what your USB looked like so I could just say, hey, have you seen blah, blah, blah USB?
So it was black.
Okay.
And when it's kind of like a sliding effect where you slide it and then you can see the USB port.
Okay, got it. How did that go for you guys? Were you able to move it okay? I'm happy to show you one more time. Everybody's got it? Okay. Should we go and move on to the cleanup portion of it? So with the cleanup, again, this can go in so many different orders. Where would you guys like to start? If you guys have started. Ashley, I don't think I've called on you yet. Where do you want me to start, or where would you like to start with this? Yeah, so you'd want to pop in this return wall right here. Yep. So right now, if I were to draw this wall, see how it would kind of come up on top of this one right here? So what I'm going to do real quick, before I draw the new wall, I'm going to click on this wall and see how my drag end comes up. I'm going to move this wall out of the way. And the thing that's great is that it lets me know when it's lined up with this wall. So that at least kind of helps me go, right? Now I'm going to follow your advice and do the create similar. And for here, I already have it finish face interior. It's going up to the second floor. I'm going to start here and pull to the right. And now it's already aligned. This corner's not perfect. Emily?
So when I moved my walls, after doing like the 18 feet, it like disappeared that wall. Is that supposed to happen, or am I supposed to like put another wall there?
This one disappeared, or which one?
The one on the left, the west, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
It shouldn't disappear. Do you think you did 81 feet? Do a double click to do a zoom all, and just make sure there's not like a crazy wall way out here. Not there? Undo it until this wall comes back, and then once it's back, then make sure you get the 18. It should stay there. Okay, so let me hop back to here. So I'm going to pull this here again to this point. Let me finish this up, and then I'm going to come see what's going on. That's really weird. Hang out there and wait for me. I'm going to do the create similar. And again, this time, I'm going to start here and drag out. And now at this point, what's the one command I can do to fix these two spots? Yep, TR. So I can grab this corner to that corner, and that corner to that corner. I'm going to pause for a minute. A few more of those edits while we're in class. It's not to drive you guys insane, but it's just to kind of prove that point that when I was looking through like all of the textbook exercises in Revit, The thing that I was dismayed about was that you never have a floor plan, you put it in once, and then it's perfect for the rest of the time. You put in your floor plan, you edit it, and you edit it again. And so we'll be edit heavy just because it's rare that you draw that floor plan and then you're ready to go. You essentially use the wall command once, and then after that it's like align, trim, move, create similar. So it's a lot more, I think, of that stuff if we're really basing this class in reality. So now that we've got this perimeter right here, what I want you guys to try and do, kind of without my help, is I'd like you guys to take these exterior perimeter walls and as few steps as possible, can you guys try to extend them up to the second floor? Because at this point, this family who wanted a tiny house, they're like, okay, our bedroom's bigger, but now we just want a bigger house. Okay, I'm going to give you guys just a few minutes to see if you can do it. And then I'm going to swoop in and help you. So if something doesn't go well, just know that there's the undo button. There's nothing we can't redeem in here. And then we'll do it together. Maybe. It sounds right, though. Yeah. Yep. Okay, it sounds like many of you guys are well on your way. So I'm going to jump in and show you how I do it. It would be in either view. I'm going to do it in 3D. So here is our hover tab click. I like that because it just grabs all of them. Now again, the caveat to this is you would have had to draw them all in one wall command. If it took you 2 or 3 wall commands, then do the control command and add them. Bless you. And now I can go here to my base constraint, and I'm moving from the first floor up to the, sorry, not base constraint, slow down, Naima. My top constraint is going from my second floor all the way up to the roof now. So this is what this lovely house looks like now. Okay. Does anybody want to see that one more time? Okay, I'm going to undo. And again, you can do this. I'm going to do it in the floor plan this time. Okay, same thing. I hover on a wall. I hit tab. See how it's grabbing different walls now? Okay, let me come over here. Hover tab. Not quite the same. I'll go ahead and select them because maybe this is what you're doing. I'm going to hit Shift to deselect the walls I don't want. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Control to grab the other walls. And I honestly didn't know that was going to happen. I thought that it would just grab everything like it did before. But now I've got all of my perimeter walls. Bless you. And then the property that I want to change is my top constraint. Right now it's going up to the second level, but I want these walls to go all the way up to the roof. Jules, did you have a question before I shoot them up?
No, I was just going to have a comment about the hover tab.
Go ahead.
Selecting the walls.
Yeah.
Because I ran into that and I thought, oh, I'm just doing it wrong, so I'm going to select all instances. But when my mouse was hovered on the exterior of my exterior wall, it selected the whole exterior.
Yeah.
When my mouse was on the interior side of the exterior wall, it stopped at those interior walls and just selected
Interesting.
little room or specific area.
Let me see if it's that subtle. I've never noticed that. So I'm going to stay on the exterior side. And so I'm hovering, tab. That's so subtle. Honestly, I've never noticed that before. I think this is a 2020 thing. Look at all these things. This has never happened before. I like it. Okay, good. So I guess I could have kept going, but it still is a good exercise to know when to deselect and when to select. Case in point, so we shoot it all up. We get it up to the second floor. That massing looks crazy. So we're not going to put all of the walls up. we're only essentially going to do this. Well, let me find a good. We're essentially just going to do this portion of the house. We're going to play with some massing. Maybe even, I'm trying to think, we're going to do a little bit of a mezzanine. I want to do some sort of a walkout, so it might even be these back walls down here. So let me do the hover tab click to grab all of them. But now I'm going to deselect by holding Alt, nope, Shift, sorry. Different programs have different ways of deselecting, and I forget which one is which. It's Shift. Okay. I know that at least I want these to go up to the second floor. Sorry. Roof. So it looks a little bit funky, but we can redeem it once we get up to the second level. We can have a 2-story space up there. Okay. So I'm going to hang out here just for a minute so you guys can see which walls to shoot up to your second floor. It's kind of a silly shape. So really in total you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walls going up to the second floor. Then when you're done, click on your first level view, and then to this add your second floor so that they're just kind of stacked back to back on each other. And then we'll see what our second floor looks like, and I want to talk about this for a little bit. Will you guys raise your hand if you need another minute to finish up those walls? Okay? I'll hang out here and wait for you guys. Okay. So now that we're here, I want to point out a couple things. So do you guys see that some walls are darker and you can select them? You can see that they're selected in your 3D view, but then some walls are lighter and you can't select them?
I don't have the lighter.
Are you in your second floor plan? Okay, so I'm going to show you. Okay. Well, that was a perfect intro, Felicia, because what I'm going to show you guys is how to turn what's called your underlay on and off. So I want everybody to hear this. So you have to look at me right now, because last semester, up until the final, I was like, turn off your damn underlay, because it just wasn't going through. Your underlay is essentially just there to help you sketch your second level. So imagine we didn't have these walls shooting up. We would have essentially nothing. We would just have like this little sketch. But in typical projects, if you have first floor walls and there's a second level, those go all the way up. Now in hand drafting, AutoCAD, those are separate walls, right? But here's the thing, on the second level, if I grab this wall and delete it, it's gone on the first floor, and so are my windows. Those are all attached. So that's why some of them are editable, like this, and some of them aren't. Are you guys with me so far? Okay. Now, the reason why you want your underlay on, so everybody come to properties with me and pull down to where you see underlay. It's right above extents. We've talked about extents before. Did you guys find it? So again, properties. And if you look at mine, I'm about halfway down and it says underlay, and then range, base level, and then it has the first floor listed. Do you guys see it now? No, Ashley? So in your second floor plan, make sure you're clicked into second floor. Okay. Come to properties. Does it say floor plan? You got it? Okay, good. There's lots of stuff open on our screen, so just make sure you're in the right view. So the reason why we have underlay on right now is so that we can essentially sketch the level below if we need to. So for example, if this is a structural wall and we need this wall on the second level, I can type in WA right now, and I can say that this wall goes up to the roof. That's just fine. I can come here. Nope, I did it wrong. I need that 4.5 inch partition. I can really stack these walls right on top of another. And I didn't go all the way, just to kind of make a point. But can you see that now I have the second floor wall here? That doesn't have anything to do with my first floor. Now we don't have a floor in there yet. We will in just a minute. But it kind of just shows you why you'd want the underlay on. Eventually we'll have stairs that we also want to maybe sketch over. So if you imagine on the first floor, so I'm going to come down here, if I drew some stairs right here that were going up, I would need to essentially cut out a hole in my second floor to make sure that the stairs could come up. You know, you don't want that whole floor going through it. So there's several different reasons why you want your underlay on. But once you get your stairs drawn in, your walls stacked, you really shouldn't see the level below. Okay, you can turn off your underlay at that point. Your underlay is really just a visual reference for you while you're working, but then when you're done, you can come here. So base level means that what floor do you want to see beneath you? And in this case, first floor came on automatically. And then when we're done with it, we're going to change it to none and see how it goes away. It doesn't mean that the walls are gone or the walls are deleted. We just turned off the underlay to none. Everybody got it? Okay, so on your plan sets, when you turn in a sheet that shows me your second floor, should your underlay be on or off? Off, good, because at that point you're turning in a sheet. I don't want to see it. I wanted to get that out right out of the bat. It was really hard last semester. I'm like, I don't know what I did wrong, but it just was not going through. So this semester we're going to try to alleviate that problem. So now this will be kind of fun because now that we have our 3D view and our second floor, we are going to draw an exterior wall, but we're not going to draw it all the way down from the first level up. We're going to start it on the second floor and draw it up to the roof. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if I go to wall, let me get my generic 6-inch wall. So over here, I'm going to draw a wall. Remember, there's stairs that are eventually going to be coming in. So I'm just going to sketch my upper level, something like that. Do you guys see what I did there? And if you want a dimension here, I just took that wall out 5 feet for now, if you want to make it exactly like mine. It will most likely change, but for now we'll just do 5 feet. This is another example of why creating those levels are important. Yeah, Deshina?
So, problem I had at the beginning of the first class, because I did that prompt that doesn't rename my levels.
Oh no, are you still on that computer? Okay, so with yours,
At home, but yeah, this
not
is
here.
Not gonna do anything.
For now, I forgot, I told you I was gonna look into that, and so again, that really shows again why levels are so important, because as you start drawing walls that only go on specific levels, that will really help you gauge where those walls go. So even these exterior walls, they don't necessarily go through all of the different levels. Okay. Is everybody with me so far? I know it was a big night starting off with the assessment and then jumping into this stuff right here. So now that we've got another level created, what I want to do now is to create some sections. And the reason why I love creating sections in Revit is because it's so simple. It really is. If you were here the first night of class when we did kind of our I can't even remember what I called it, our crash course. Maybe you remember, but there's 2 places for it. In your main menu, right next to your little 3D house, there is a section line. Or, because a section is a view, maybe you'll remember that if you go under view, there's a section call out. Unfortunately, there's not a shortcut for it, but let's go ahead and draw our sections in roughly the same place. Okay, this is how simple it is. So we're going to click on section, and our first section is going to cut through our building about here. And then our second one is going to cut through our building about here. Okay. While you guys are working, let me show you some quick things if you want to adjust it. So if you want, you can flip these icons. So if your tail ended up on the top, you can flip it so that it brings the other one back. Do you see this little circle I'm using? It kind of cycles through those icons. The other thing is if your section is looking the opposite way of mine, look for the same flip section. This flip marker, we've seen it on doors, we've seen it on walls, it also flips your section. It's too late to yawn. Last semester, I started teaching this class at 8 o'clock at night until 10:20, if you could imagine, 8 to 10:20. So we had a yawn jar. Totally joke, fictitious thing, but every time somebody yawned, it would be like they swore. I was like, yawn jar, now. Okay. And then once you get your 2 views in there, the thing that's great is first, let's notice in our views, now you guys should have sections called out. Do you see how now at the bottom I have a section category? And if I hit the plus sign, I have 2 sections. So you can get there 2 ways. You can double click on where it says section 1. Or if I go back to my first floor plan, do you see kind of like the dark part of this arrow, the section symbol? If I double click on that, it takes me to the same place. So do you guys remember the 2 ways to get to your section? Right? One is through your project browser. And what's the shortcut? Yep, double click on the dark part of your arrow. Let me see if it'll do it down here. Nope, it has to be the dark part of that arrowhead. Now, quick background on what a section is. Depending on, your experience, you might not even know what a section is. So looking at this, what a section view does, and hopefully this becomes obvious to you, is it is a view that cuts through your entire building. So it's going through all floors and all walls, so it's showing structure. An interior elevation is different from a section. So if we were doing our building right here, let's pretend we're cutting a section and looking this way. A section would show me what the guts of this wall looks like and the guts of that wall looks like. It will also show me the ceiling, and then it shows me the ceiling cavity above that I can't see, and then whatever the floor structure is above me, and then the floor above that roof structure, it keeps going through the whole thing. An interior elevation essentially is just from corner to corner on the inside. It's the 4 corners on the inside. You don't see any structure, and you don't see rooms beyond or floors beyond, but section really does cut through the entire building. Okay? So although they're similar, pretty distinct difference between those 2, right? It's really nice using sections because as we start putting in roofs and stairs and even floors, it lets us see what we're putting in. Sometimes these things we can't see in floor plan because when we're in our little hovercraft looking above, it's kind of impossible to see. But section 3D, it makes it a little bit easier to see these things. So let me toggle my views a little bit. Go ahead.
So when I put it in, does it matter if there's a little symbol for it on one end and then the other end?
No,
not,
that's...
or if they both are
No, that's really just an individual graphic preference. The only thing that matters is which way that arrow is going. But there's not a national CAD standard that says the arrow needs to be up here and not down here. That's really an individual preference. So this is funny. Typically everything, it's not funny, it's nerdy that I know this. Almost everything Revit does automatically is like a national CAD standard. Like when you put in a symbol in, that's the national CAD standard. Between us, this isn't a national CAD standard. If a section goes through an entire building, you're supposed to show the head on both ends, so you can see it from start to finish. If it's a partial section that's only going through a wall or a portion of the building, that's when you will show the tail. But not a lot of people know that because not everybody's super nerdy like I am. But because Revit has kind of made it the standard way of going in, I would say 95% of all drawings that I see from all offices now is the head and the tail. If you look at old CAD drawings, I think that they'd be different. You'd see head to head going through full sections and then head tail going through partial sections. This isn't a blueprint reading class, so I'm going to lay off, but just between us. Thanks for asking, Jules. I know plenty of more stuff like that that you don't want to really know about. But section views, again, really help seeing these things. Now, I typically make it a rule that I shut up at 9 o'clock, but I at least want to go in and show you guys how to throw in a floor and maybe a staircase really quickly, just so you can see how they work. And then when we come in on Thursday, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open them back up, even if they don't work. I just want to show you guys where the buttons are before we leave. We made it this far. So on that note, what I'd like to do is on our second level, I want to draw its floor. Because if I were to draw a floor on the first floor looking at my section, where would the floor of my first floor go? It's going to go into the ground, right? It's kind of that concrete base. That doesn't affect us yet, but the floor of the second level will affect us because we've got stairs, we've got walls that run into it, okay? So let's go to our second floor right now. And over here, I'm going to pull up an elevation too. So right now, we have our first floor at 0 and we have our second floor at 10 feet, okay? Does our floor, do you guys know, will our floor go above or below that? Think about, let me actually show it to you in section. So if we say that our second floor starts at 10 feet, should our floor be drawn below or above? Essentially the top of it is at 10, right? Because that's where our second floor is. So again, section helps. So when we draw it on our second floor, we're going to make sure that Revit doesn't draw it above our second floor, but it's going to drop it down. So it's not foreshortening it. I'm doing all this voguing up here, which isn't going to help you if you're watching this on YouTube later, but thank you for knowing what voguing means. I said that in a different class and people are like, what is that? Apparently it came back in style. Anyway, but you guys are with me, right? Okay. So on our second floor plan, if we wanted to draw a floor, what button do you think I would click on? Floor. Do you guys see that there's a floor button right here? This should be really familiar to you guys. So we click on floor. What kind of a floor is it going to draw for us? Good. In our properties, we see it's a generic 12-inch. If I pull down on that, do you guys see that there are wood joist 10-inch wood finish, wood truss joist 12-inch carpet finish? So we don't just need to do a generic one, but for tonight, for sake of time, let's go ahead and do a generic 12-inch. Okay. Does anything else look familiar in here? For some of you guys, it might, if you've drawn a roof with me before. Do you guys remember when we drew a roof? We kind of had to sketch the perimeter of where the roof was going. So let's pretend like we're looking at this for the first time, because I don't see a lot of light bulbs going off. It was a lot of like, no, I haven't seen this before. So let me back up and tell you what this means. Okay, so look up here in kind of your upper right and see how there's something called a boundary line, and there's lots of different ways to sketch. You can kind of pick how you want to sketch. In Revit, there's going to be several things where it is going to require a boundary line, and I should stay close to the mic for this. So whether you're drawing a floor, a ceiling, or a roof, or a stair, they all need a boundary line. Revit wants to know, show me where the perimeter of the floor is. Show me where the perimeter of the roof is. All of those are the boundary lines, okay? Now think about a floor. Would the perimeter of it go, this is really, do you guys see where my arrow is? Will it go around A or B? B, right? It's going to go in the interior of a structure. It's rare that you see the floor actually coming out. There are instances where there might be like a patio that comes out, but there's almost always a finish there. So good. We want our floor to go around essentially this whole level. So you can do a couple things. You can click on the line and you can go around and sketch it. See how I'm just kind of going point to point? And in the middle of this, you can come and grab something else. Do you see how there's pick lines and pick walls? Some people like this. It's not perfect, but if I click on pick lines, it's going to try to automatically draw in the floor for me. Do you see how I'm just kind of clicking on the wall and it's trying to put it in automatically? You can try that too. But in a nutshell, what I'd like you guys to do is to sketch however you'd like a perimeter or boundary of where our floor is going to go. Okay, here's what it looks like in 3D on my view. And then when we're done, what do you think we hit? I'm giving you a hint. Yeah, that green check mark means, okay, I'm done drawing. Okay, so when you're done, give it a green check mark. Would you like the walls that go up to this floor's level attached to its bottom? Go ahead and say yes. That just means your walls are going to go all the way up. And then it might give you another warning. Just go ahead and click on OK. And then now, this was super subtle, but do you see how on my 3D view, I now have a floor and I'm not looking through the first level anymore? Okay. So I can kind of highlight it and still see through. How to select it in my 3D view? Is that what you mean? So in your 3D view, come over and just hover over the line of the floor and you should be able to click on it. And Emily, the trick might be to take your 3D view and tilt it down to where you really see that line. If that doesn't work, I'm going to show you one other way. Jules?
I just had a quick question about the 3D view.
Uh-huh.
Does Revit just already like cut the top of the wall where that floor sits so you can see where the floor comes down?
No, it doesn't.
So what's the little like on the model look at the first floor, see how it kind of divots down a little bit?
Yeah, so that's that 12-inch floor thickness that we're looking at.
Okay.
So the 3D view doesn't really do anything automatically. When we sketched the floor, we said it was 12 inches, so it's dropping down 12 inches. Let's check our section to see whether it went up or down, okay? So if you click on section, did it draw the floor above or below that second floor mark? Yeah, below. I thought you were saying like right here. Yes, it went below. So that's what we wanted it to do. Do you guys see that in your section? Emily, did you get yours to work? The selection part of it?
I think it says highlighted walls are attached to, but missed the highlighted part.
And you can say okay on that. Sorry, I went through that really quickly.
Yeah, that one worked. I think it just wasn't connecting the lines when I was doing like the line option.
Got it. But it finally got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So with all of these things, I hope you guys notice that here in class, I fumble over stuff, but I really quickly get over it and I move on. So Emily, I love that yours wasn't working and you were like, forget it, I'm just going to draw it again. Because most of the time, just redrawing it and starting over is so much quicker than trying to figure out why it isn't working. You know, trying to find those two little lines that are overlapping, or where is it not close. Sometimes it's easier just to X out of it, redraw it, and then you're done. It's almost the same amount of time. So good. We've got our stair here, or I'm sorry, we've got our floor here. I'm going to take just a couple more minutes, and we're gonna draw a quick stair on the first floor, and then we're going to cut a hole out of our second floor. You guys with me? We're going to power through these next little bits. This will be a good preview of what we're doing next class. So double click on your first level this time. Okay. And I just want to let you guys know I want to try and fit the stairs along this wall right here. I don't know how much room it's going to take, but I essentially want the first step here and then moving up. Okay. So with stairs, I'm going to show you how quick it is. And remember, this is the intro. I'm going to click stair. What kind of a stair am I about to draw? Closed two sides. Or I could do any of these residential sides. For now, let me at least do a residential oh yeah, sorry, this one still is residential. We'll just stick with that one, okay? And then here, see how there's a location line? So I don't want to draw my stairs from the center because I want to draw it from this wall down. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if that's left or right. I think it's left. Let me do a quick draw. Nope, it's right. Sorry. So again, I click stair. Did everybody see that? Okay. So under architecture, stair, mine is grayed out. Do you see it? Okay. And then after that, it should automatically take you to this modify menu. So far, the only thing I've changed is I did run right, but everything else I'm leaving automatic. It's going to draw a 3-foot wide stair. And do you guys see that when I draw, it's showing me the steps, and then it's showing me how big the staircase really needs to be for all the steps to fit. Do you guys see that too, that kind of sketch? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat and stop it short because I know it won't fit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this wall and keep drawing it so I kind of get an L shape. That's okay. I'm going to cancel mine and do it one more time. So I'm going to click on stair. Is the run the center? Yep, run is right. Hi, how are you? Good to see you again. And then we're going to start here and we're going to pull over. And so, Raquel, this is where I cheat. I don't know how far they're going to go.
I didn't know that you clicked on the corner of the wall.
Ah, got it. So now you know where to start. So I'm going to pull till about this level right here. Okay. And then after that, see how I'm just kind of eyeballing where that one stair ends? Okay, so it's still waiting for me to draw stairs because I'm not done. I'm going to start it here, and then do you see how it's automatically drawing them again in the opposite direction? So I pull down, and you should have a staircase, hopefully. Okay. We are done in 10 minutes, and I think as soon as I'm done, he leaves. Yeah, you might want to ask David, though. I don't know. He's not? Then he's already gone. He didn't wait for us tonight. Okay, see ya. So if you have a staircase, what do you think we should hit to let Revit know that we're done? Yep, green check mark. All right, and in my 3D view, I have a stair. Is it working? It's not a working stair, but I have a stair, right? And this is where we'll continue the conversation on Thursday. We're gonna come back in, we'll put in the floor again from the beginning, we'll put in the stairs, we'll adjust the second level. Yeah, we're gonna go through all those things. That's it for tonight. I'm gonna stop there, all right? Just a quick preview of what we're doing.